And now this is a problem where it would also make sense to use a decimal, because negative 8/10 is negative 0.8. Very nice, friendly decimal. Most of the time you don't get that. If you get a number like 1/7 in decimal form, that's 0.142857, 142857. That just goes on forever. And so, and most problems, when you round off a decimal number, you create a bit of an error. Here we wouldn't. But I would encourage you to, when the fraction is simple, like -4/5 or 3/8, just write the fraction. Don't reach for your calculator and punch it in. Just write the fraction and be done with it. But do reduce the fraction. Okay, negative 8/10 does reduce to -4/5. All right, because I know some of you need a little bit of refresher on handling fractions, I'm going to check this problem using the fraction, and so we can go through those steps with fractions. So make some room here. Now I don't always show the checks. Most of the time I don't, but I think it's a good idea to show it. And probably most of you will not check your work. You'll work on faith that what you did was correct, and I hope you're right. But if you want to get an A in the course, one sure way to help yourself is to check your work. Get in the habit of checking your answers. And funny thing happens when you check your answers regularly is you start to build a real understanding for the math you're doing. And so there's another benefit there. And ultimately, what does that do? It saves you time. So I know this sounds a little strange, but I always believe that the more you practice math, the less time you'll spend on it in the big picture. So because once you get good at learning math, then you are spending less time working it. All right, it's kind of hard for me to convince people of that, but I think it's true. All right, so let's check it. Let's check. And so I'm going to replace, I have to erase my answer here because it's going to get in my way. Obviously you wouldn't erase your answer on a paper, I would need to see your answer. But I want to erase the answer so I have room. I'm going to replace x with -4/5. So I have 3 minus 2, 4 minus -4/5 equals 4 bracket 3 -4/5 minus 5 -4/5 plus 1 plus 7. All right, so that barely fit on the board the way I wrote it, but I hope it's okay. Let's see here. We can do a few things. This negative will cancel that negative. And by the way, to check your answer reliably, you have to go to the beginning of the problem. You can't go to the middle of the problem where you were working it and plug the number in, because what if you made a mistake to getting to there? You need to go to the beginning of the problem. All right, so let's see. What is 4 plus 4/5? Well, that's 4 4/5, isn't it? 4 4/5. And what is 4 4/5? That would be 4 times 5 is 20, plus 4 is 24/5. So I have 3 minus 2, parentheses, 24/5. Over here I've got 4, bracket. So what's 3 times -4/5? That's -12/5. And here I've got -4/5 plus 1. So if you take 1, which is 5/5, and subtract 4/5, you're left with 1/5, aren't you? So inside that's 1/5. And if I multiply 1/5 times this -5, I'm going to get -1, aren't I? Minus 1. Because the 5's will cancel. And I have plus 7 here. All right, so here I've got 3 minus, all right, so 2 times 24/5 is 48/5. So I have 3 minus 48/5 equals, now what do we got here? I got minus 12/5 minus 1. This is minus 12/5. I'm just going to scribble to the side, minus 5/5. That would be minus 17 fifths, wouldn't it? So 4 times minus 17 fifths plus 7. Alright. I didn't mean to start off with such a long-winded problem for the first video. Most of these videos are going to be a lot shorter than this, I promise. Now I need a common denominator here, and so 3, I need a common denominator 5, so 3 is how many fifths? It's 15 fifths minus 48 fifths. And here I've got 4 times negative 17, that would be minus 68 fifths. And 7 needs to be turned into fifths, and 7 is 35 fifths. Alright, so let's see, 15 minus 48 is negative 33 fifths. And negative 68 plus 35 is negative 33 fifths. So it checked out. That number balanced the equation. It solved the equation. So we've got the correct answer. Now I think, well, some things I'm going to talk about as we move along here. If these didn't equal each other, then we have a wrong answer, or we checked it wrong. All right, so if you go through all this work and these two sides don't equal, you made a mistake somewhere, either in solving the problem or in checking it. Usually in solving, but not always. So that's what happens. Another neat question we ask is, well, is there another answer to this problem? You know, can there be more than one answer? And there can't be, but I want to show you in a little bit why that's true. So let's leave it here for now. Our answer was correct.